Welcome back, I'm Brandon, the Hbar Bull. I do some work for the Hbar Foundation, but the opinions in this video are mine or those of my interviewees. This week has been brutal for risk assets in general, and it's no different for crypto or the Hbar. We saw the wipeout of a popular cryptocurrency platform, Terra Luna, which had reverberating effects across the market. But we have plenty of Hopium for you. Hedera is still working on building the most valuable DLT network on Earth. We cover a potentially massive use case in Hbar, Hashaxis, a door opening at Stater because of the issues with Terra Luna, Hbar Suite, and more. So let's get it. All right, so today we have Zepsi back. I wanted to bring him back to discuss the Hbar news, but there's so many things that are going on in the ecosystem. I wanted to cover some other things as well. Still, we'll get started with Hbar. Before we get into the commentary, I wanted to remind everybody what Hbar is trying to accomplish. And here's a quick explainer clip to run you through what they're doing.
If I could sum up Hbar in just one word, it would be trust.
Transparency.
Infinity.
Future.
Hbar bridges the world between physical objects and the digital domain.
The ability to provide product information to anyone, anywhere in the world.
The brand can engage with the consumers via the product.
Our users can just kind of add on applications that are relevant for their new use cases.
Imagine being able to, as a consumer, trace an item all the way back to the raw material. Imagine as a pharmaceutical company or as a healthcare provider to be able to track the temperature of each vaccine vial every step of the way. And then imagine if you're a restaurant or a retailer to know when your food is expiring and when you need to recall produce. All of that's possible in the Hbar Connected Product Cloud.
Having Hbar allows us to evolve our solutions to the future. We can actually make connected products be the interface between brands and the consumers.
We are in the pole position to drive sustainability, providing traceability from source to the consumer.
The idea is that we're connecting the dots across the product's life cycle.
Only when we know what we're doing and people are accountable for it, we will be able to act more sustainably and treat lighter on our planet. The Hbar team is made up of a group of really passionate and driven people across the globe.
The team is extremely collaborative, innovative, very agile.
What we're building is a global, highly scalable solution. You can only achieve this with a diverse team.
The future of Hbar will be one where it will become an essential part of everything we do within Avery Dennison.
With tens of trillions of events being captured, we can know so much more about our planet, about the companies that we purchase products from, and about every single industry so that we can be more efficient, more sustainable, and more trusted.
All right, Zep. So they said trillions of transactions. Now, of course, all that isn't going to be on Hedera. Right now, Hedera is just an option that people can use for Hbar. But with the news that we just got about the Hbar Foundation supporting Hbar, I think we're going to start to see a lot more integration. And, you know, we have Mance now coming out and saying there's going to be billions of transactions by this one use case. So I'm pretty sure that there's going to be some pretty significant integrations, as I mentioned. So what are your thoughts on the Hbar news?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's massive news for the Hedera ecosystem. It's massive news for everyone that holds Hbar. You know, we've been waiting for this kind of announcement for a while now, you know, and it's come and it's almost come out of nowhere. I don't think anyone was really expecting that. And I think, honestly, it's come at just the right time. You know, the markets aren't looking great. You know, investor confidence is always a bit tarnished when we're in this kind of situation, but all this has shown us is that they are working away, that throughout whatever the market turmoil is, they're going to be continuing to work away. And I think this must be the first enterprise grade use case on a public DLT of this scale. And, you know, that's not something that can be just sort of looked at and forgotten. You know, this is the kind of thing that is going to give real credibility to the distributed ledger market, especially in a time where, you know, you've got something like Luna that just crashed into oblivion. This is the kind of thing that serious investors are going to look at, especially when things like regulation come in. They're going to go, what is the company doing? Okay, Hedera is absolutely smashing it. You know, they're getting billions of transactions through their mainnet, through the singular use case from Avery Dennison, which is one of the leading supply chain firms in the world. And beyond that, you know, they've got in their clientele at Hbar, they've got 6 of the 20 leading apparel brands in the world by revenue, which is just unbelievable. When you think, you know, every single company within that clientele are looking into ESG, they're looking offsetting their carbon. They're looking to reach net zero, especially in Europe as well, when they kind of have to. It's like these people are going to see how easy Hedera and The Guardian and Atma.io and Avery Dennison have made this supply chain tracking of carbon for them. And they know that the word spreads then, they might be doing it for this one thing on this one product cloud, but that kind of information spreads like wildfire. And I think The Guardian on Hedera is going to get a serious amount of credibility from this. Not that it hasn't already, but this is, I think, a massive step in the direction and a serious move for the Sustainable Impact Fund, i.e. Wes, Rob, and the team at Envision and everyone else. Definitely.
Yeah. No question about it. And like you said, this is falling under the Sustainable Impact Fund with Hedera. We'll try to get Wes on as soon as possible to explain it a little bit further. Now, one of the things that I kind of want to highlight here, now we talk about billions of transactions. He mentioned in that explainer video that, they could have trillions of transactions. We don't know how many of those will actually end up on the Hedera network, but we're hoping it will be a significant amount. To give you an idea of the kind of revenue that can generate, that's 1 trillion HCS transactions will generate $100 million worth of revenue for the Hedera network. So it's really significant. Now, of course, it takes significant scaling to get to that point, but it certainly shows that there could be brighter days ahead. So let's get into some other stuff. Again, we're going to try to get Wes on here and we'll get some more information about Atma.io. But, like you said, there's 6 of the top apparel brands. I think there's 4 of the top fast food restaurants are, also being tracked using Atma.io. So exciting stuff to come. But the other piece of news that came out this week was support for Hashaxis in the NFT marketplace in the Hedera ecosystem. So have you used Hashaxis at all?
I have before. my NFT portfolio isn't quite where I'd like it to be.
Sure.
But I think I've got about 12 NFTs or so. I've used Hashaxis before and it was a completely seamless experience. That is key infrastructure for the NFT community. And that is exactly, the kind of thing we should be funding, I think, especially when you think, just how popular NFTs are, just how vibrant the Hedera NFT community is. I think it's definitely something that can strengthen that community and hopefully bring in people from other communities when they see, we are actively investing in this community. We're not leaving them on the way by, we want to put money into them. I think that's going to be definitely for other communities looking in. That's exactly the kind of thing they want as an artist, is to see that the community or the company who's in charge of financing that community is doing so and does have an active part in it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, NFTs are engaging, right? People get them, they can store them, they can show them off to their friends, all that kind of stuff. And we really do have a pretty vibrant, it might be small, but we have a vibrant NFT community. With Hashaxis, we got Turtle Moon. They did fundraise in December where they got all kinds of money. I think it was $250,000, and that was for the Hayes Caldwell Women's Center. It was so much fun. They had parties on Twitter Spaces during the day. They had a fantastic party at the end of it where Lehman came on and a lot of the Hedera team. But yeah, it can really bolster the community. So I wish Hashaxis the best of luck. I think they're getting in on the ground floor. The art that they have on their site is beautiful, but that's just the beginning, right? There's going to be all kinds of things you can do with NFTs and with that infrastructure that they're building. So they're building that infrastructure. It's going to be ready to go. And I'm glad that they're getting support from the Hbar Foundation. It's the exact kind of stuff that we should be doing.
Definitely.
All right. So the other big piece of news this week is Terra Luna. It's not specific to Hedera, but I'm sure we can tie it in somewhat. Do you hold any Terra Luna? Are you involved with that ecosystem at all?
Thank God I don't, actually.
Yeah.
I think I think just before this interview I was looking, I think it was about $0.005 US. And I don't know, is that zero? Do we classify that as zero?
I think we have to.
Oh man, yeah, I can't imagine how rough those people feel. I mean, yeah, my thoughts definitely with them.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, for Stata Labs, I think that gives us more, to be very selfish about it, I think that it does give perhaps Hbar a bit of more of a light on their platform now, because Luna was I think they had like 280 million staked or something dollars, and now that's come down drastically, obviously. And Hedera is now the the most total value locked on their network is in Hbar. So hopefully maybe that'll means that when we now take the spotlight a bit more, not that they haven't been doing an amazing job already, you know, it's the Stader Hedera team have been absolutely killing it for us. They've been so engaging. But yeah, maybe this could be the next chapter for Hedera on Stader Labs. You know, maybe there'll be even more of the limelight shone on us. So who knows?
Yeah, yeah. Like you said, you know, my condolences to anybody that's in the Terra Luna ecosystem. They were trying to accomplish something that was really unique. I mean, there had been stable coins that were trying to maintain peg using an algorithm like that, but this was probably the most successful one to this point. I think they've all pretty much failed, but you know, they had a good idea. They were trying their best. I know it affected the rest of the market. I think one of the reasons for that is just it shakes confidence across the board. They're like, okay, well, if this failed, does that mean everything's going to fail? Yeah. Certainly, probably, you know, it's not the case. Hedera is still alive and well. A lot of the other platforms are just fine, but it kind of shakes the confidence in general. But, you know, you make a great point, you know, that clears the way for some other platforms. I'm taking a look at Stader right now. I think it was actually up to $700 million of total value locked for Terra, and they're down under 100,000. So I think, like you said, I think it is at zero. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to recover. Another reason why it kind of affected the rest of the market is they didn't just try to maintain the peg using the Terra Luna pair. They also had other assets that they held, like Bitcoin. And so to try to maintain their peg while all this was going down, they sold Bitcoin. And that, of course, impacted the Bitcoin market and other crypto assets that they might have held, and that impacted it further. But again, getting back to Stader, with Terra now, which was their marquee staking network, they had dropped from 700 million down to 92,000. Hedera right now is sitting, and of course, this is going to be posted in a couple of days, but Hedera is now sitting at about $42 million total value locked. Polygon's another one that's on their network, and that's under 2 million that's total value locked. And the final one is Phantom, and that's at 3.5 million locked. So like you said, Hedera is pretty much the marquee platform right now. I think next week, I think the Stader platform reached out to us. They'd like to do an AMA to kind of run through what's going on with Terra Luna, what's going on with version 2 staking for the Hedera network, and so forth. So he's going to be able to run us through exactly what's happening. Gadam with Stader has been great from the very beginning. They have a really strong team. They know what they're doing. So like you said, now their focus is going to be on their new top platform, and that's going to be Hedera.
All right.
That's it. We're looking forward to it. But, you know, of course, there's going to be more stuff coming out in the Hedera ecosystem. Now is the time to build. That was brought up in the AMA. We had a leadership AMA for the Hbar Foundation yesterday. That's posted to both YouTube and that's on Twitter as well. And one of the things that was brought up, Elaine said that now's the time to build. And some people don't really understand. I got some comments saying that's ridiculous. Bear markets aren't the time to build. But what a lot of these platforms do, whether they're exchanges or networks, when the bull market's going on, they have all these customers getting onboarded. They have tons of people that are using their networks. And when that happens, it puts strain on them. So they have their tech teams all the time trying to fix patches and issues, deal with customers, all that kind of stuff. So they're busy. They can't build. During these quiet times when there aren't new customers getting onboarded, people aren't trading as much and all that kind of stuff, now's the time when those tech teams can shift their focus and really start paying attention to building out their infrastructure. So I'm looking forward to what's being built, especially in the Hedera ecosystem. And I think there's going to be brighter days ahead.
100%. I mean, I think one thing that really excites me, you know, having got over the fact that the market's gone to such sort of perilous levels, is that I feel like you were saying, you know, there's so much news and noise in a bull market. But, you know, if we can stand out as we have been doing, when there is that, you know, when it's almost radio silence in terms of, you know, Dogecoins hitting the moon, etc., all that's going to be able to really get any coverage, in my opinion, is the projects that are seriously building. So, I mean, I'm sure other projects will be coming out some really cool stuff as well. But I know for a fact that Hedera will not stop during the bear market, and we've got the biggest war chest to help us through that. And I hope that we come out like a sort of a beacon really amidst the bear market. and I'm very, very hopeful that we're laying the foundation for the next bull market. Definitely.
Yeah, no question. I think, we're laying the seeds now for that next bull market that'll come down the line later on. But Zep, thanks so much for coming. I really appreciate you giving some time.
Thank you for having me, Brandon.
So we managed to get the crew back from Hbar Suite to give us a quick rundown of what they're building. Welcome, guys.
Hi, thank you very much for having us.
Hello, thanks for having us again.
Yeah, my pleasure. So you guys started with Hbar and you've moved on to Hbar Suite. Moving on is probably the wrong word to use. Hbar is still alive and well, and hopefully it's going to be hitting DeFi exchanges before too long. But can you tell us a bit about Hbar Suite and why you created it?
Yeah, so we basically started with Hbar first, where it was like a meme, but also like we have an underlying technology over it called smart nodes, and we'll touch really soon on that. But what happened is that we had a few hiccups on the way with Hbar, and then at some point we decided to split the meme from the tech. So we have Hbar as a meme, which will be hosted through Hbar Suite, where Hbar Suite is the smart node technology, the underlying smart node technology, basically.
Okay, I got you. Well, you mentioned your smart nodes. So what are they and how does that all compare to smart contracts?
So smart nodes, you could consider those in a way that we have certain computing. Instead of using like a smart contracts where you have the Ethereum virtual machine and where you have code deployed inside the virtual machine and then validated through like the binding network of computers, we have smart nodes where basically they're Docker images instances where you're able to grab the piece of programming logics, for example, where we're building anything related to like on top of Hedera, and we're able to deploy those on different computing systems. And this way we can create a decentralized system without using smart contracts or the virtual machine itself in this case. But Tomasz, if you wanted to touch on that, you're more than welcome to do so.
Yeah, basically the main differences is that in our approach, we are following Hedera path. So instead of having like an Ethereum virtual machine running on top of a network, we basically are doing a kind of a node system, which is a network able to run any piece of code without any limitation in terms of memories or performances. And on top of that, we can also ensure that we can calculate a fixed fees price because the gas fees won't change as it will change for smart contracts. Actually, differences like very much more than this, but it's not easy to explain that like in a more and quick interview, but that's a brief understanding of it.
So how do you keep the fund safe while maintaining decentralization for those that aren't familiar with DeFi or for anything that you have that might be different from other DeFi platforms?
Yeah, so for the first phase where we're now, where we're having token offerings and pre-sales, we basically built a multi-signature treasury we set up where we have two multi-signature accounts. One, the main treasury, where we have treasury committees, which are like, there are quite many Hedera names, people from the community that everybody knows, and some people maybe from like Brazil, somebody else from Australia, from a little bit all over the world, Indonesia. And so we built a little script because right now there is not really multi-signature wallet where it's actually decentralized on Hedera. So we had to build our own little thing, a little preview of our little smart node for all the committees. And we created a multi-signature account where there is a threshold where, for example, for the big treasury, there is 8 people that have to sign to unlock any funds, 8 out of 14, while we also have a smaller treasury of executive, like for a faster, faster decision or anything like that, where we have a total of 6 people and at least 4 have to sign. And that's a really cool approach as a first way of securing funds. But in regards of like when our smart nodes will be deployed like fully on mainnet in regards of decentralized exchange to managing like liquidity pools and anything like that, we will be using so-called continuous multi-signature engine, which is related to the smart nodes, where basically the smart nodes all the smart nodes like control the accounts, which will be all multi-signature and will be using like scheduled transactions to process different requests from like users for the network to validate like the functionalities that they wanna leverage in that case. And so in a few words, like we're kind of building the AppNet vision that Lemon Bird was always talking about in the earlier days of Hedera, when he didn't even never mention smart contracts or anything like that.
Yeah, I was actually wondering about that because we heard Lehman talk about AppNets a lot in the beginning, with the use of HCS and all that kind of stuff. And that's pretty much the path you guys are going down. So you're essentially going to be a decentralized exchange. What trading pairs are you going to have initially?
One of the first that we will be deploying will be H Suite with Hbar first, and then we will be releasing Hbar H Suite pairs, so people will be able to buy or sell. But the cool thing is also we will be having like automated routings. For example, like if you wanted to like buy Hbar, for example, you can technically just use your Hbar. You don't have to even worry about getting like the middle token, which will be H Suite in this case. So instead of doing like Hbar H Suite and H Suite Hbar, you will be able to just do like Hbar to Hbar through our swap, and then automatically will swap your Hbar for H Suite and so on, and the vice versa around. And you will be able to like create liquidity pools, join pools, and we will be using a constant mean market maker, which is kind of similar to a regular constant product formula, which X times you have two tokens multiplied equals a constant. But in this case, the way we're using it's a more generalized formula, which allows you to also do weighted pools. And weighted pools, in short, are basically you can do, for example, instead of a 50-50 classic balance pool, you can do like a 70-30, 80-20, or vice versa, and anything like that. So you're able to control your exposure on an asset when you join a liquidity pool, and also potentially mitigate your impermanent losses.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So, we're getting excited about this already. When is this thing going to launch, and when are people going to be able to participate?
So you mean for the trading pair liquidity pools?
Yeah. Yes.
So we're planning by the end of June, we should have the first liquidity pool pair live on mainnet, which should be Hbar H Suite. Right now, we're actually by the end of this week, we should be able to show more previews about the testnet app that we're launching, where you will be able to do swaps, for example. And it will be very exciting because we already released a little video preview earlier, and a lot of people were excited about it, and we're working Godspeed to be able to deploy this in a most secure and manner possible. But the cool thing is that we're also will be running, once we deploy the testnet app, we'll be running bug bounties, where we'll be asking the community to use our testnet app as much as they can, so they would help us expedite development to be able to find like anything like related to bugs, like anything of the matter that would expedite development. Because as much as testing that we can do as the team, there is always going to be some edge cases that will come up as users keep using the platform. So yeah, that's a great step, and we'll be rewarding the people that find bugs on testnet with actual H Suite.
All right. So people that want to try to get involved and follow your launch, how should they keep in contact with you? How should they follow you?
I would recommend to follow us on Twitter, and also join our Discord channel as well, and stay up to date. Stay tuned there.
All right. Sounds good. Well, thank you guys so much for coming, and good luck.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Brendan.
This past week, we had the COO and co-founder of Hashaxis, Solo Cisse, on to talk about the listing of their HTS token, ticker CLXY, secondary HTS markets, and Coinbase. We also posted the recording of the Hbar Foundation Twitter Spaces AMA. Here's a quick clip of the intro and exit comments made by the Foundation CEO, Shane.
Absolutely. So I just want to say thanks to everyone who's joining. Look forward to your questions. I think the market's been interesting over the last few days and over the last couple of weeks. And so I'm sure that this is a timely conversation. I think that there's a lot going on in the network, as you've seen by many of our announcements. So I look forward to your questions and being able to answer them. And so with that, Brandon, I'll turn it back over to you. Yeah, listen, I am incredibly encouraged by what we're doing, what we're building, what you guys are building and are a part of. I am not concerned one bit. In fact, if you look at, and I think Elaine kind of mentioned it, you look at historical precedent of all kinds of markets, technology waves, etc. This is going to happen. This won't be the last time it happens. And so you've got to get back to basics when those things are happening, asking yourself, for us particularly, are we making the right investments in the right projects that are solving real world problems? And the answer is yes. You've seen it come out, as we've continued to be very noisy around all the grants that we're making. We're not slowing down. I think this is, as Elaine said it well, this is the time to build. We're continuing to accelerate. And I believe on the other side of this, we're going to emerge much, much stronger. So thank you all for what you're doing and for your questions and attending and what you do in the community. And, I certainly appreciate all that you're doing and hope that you appreciate the things that we're doing.
Next week, we're going to get the interoperability platform Hashport on again, along with one of their validators, HexTrust. Let me make it clear that HexTrust is a custody solution, not the Ponzi-ish cryptocurrency. And the big one, we're going to get Mans Harmon on to answer some tough questions the community has been wondering about. Well, I'm glad I got my macroeconomics headwind video out a few weeks ago, but I certainly didn't think the drop across all markets was going to be this quick. As the saying goes, markets take the stairs up and the elevator down. Hbar is currently sitting at just under 10 cents, down about 26% on the week. It could certainly be worse though. Luna's down 99.99% this week. Bitcoin spiked through its 2021 summer low of about $28,500 to below $27,000. And Hbar dropped to about 8 cents on Thursday, which corresponds to the spike high following Google joining the Hedera Governing Council back in February of 2020. On Friday, there was a relief rally that saw Bitcoin push above 30,000 and Hbar back above 10 cents. You could still argue that the 2021 summer Bitcoin low at 28,500 held for the most part, as it was only below for a short time. The same can't be said for Hbar at 10 cents. It was close, but the Google high at about 8 cents is a much better candidate for support. As for resistance, it really depends on what we do here around 10 cents. Getting into a range between 8 and 11 cents wouldn't surprise me, and if we break out, 14 cents might be the next target, but it really depends on what happens on Monday in the broader markets. Investopedia defines a relief rally as a respite in a broader market sell-off that results in temporarily higher securities prices. And that's how I'm looking at Friday, but it would be huge if prices continue to bounce when broader markets open on Monday. For Hbar in particular, Atma.io could be significant if we really do start to see a step change in network usage as a result in the months to come. I think that kind of change could result in the right kind of attention for the Hbar market. It was also noticed that the last Hedera meeting minutes noted that the board elections will also be delayed until the term sheet is signed and the amended LLC agreement is effective. This was referring to the move to Swirlds by much of the team, which has now been completed. This is likely the reason why we haven't seen additional council members added in recent months. Some high-profile additions could also have a positive impact on the Hbar market. Well, that's it. Thanks for watching, and please like, subscribe, and comment if you appreciate this content.